Hi again. Hey, I thought I'd take a minute and let's talk about the cabin and its framing. Reality-wise, you need to know what the bones of a building look like. You need to understand what's going on inside of it. And I just said the bones of a building. Oh, I'm I'm channeling my old uh, boss. I used to work with a contractor doing framing in concrete, mostly concrete and drywall. Actually, he liked those. But let's take a look at this for a minute. I've got laid out right here basically the framing of that same cabin I drew up a little earlier in the basic cabin drawing. Here's the deal with it though. As I'm looking at it, this doesn't have any of the windows put in, but we've put in the door openings and stuff. We put in the rough framing. We'll go through and add those other bits and pieces later. But what we need to do is notice some things. Sometimes studs aren't always 16 inches apart. Sometimes they're 24. Then you've got your California corners like what you see right there. Basically, otherwise there's no way to get how are you going to attach drywall to air, guys and girls? Honestly, if that stud hadn't fallen right there, which it didn't, we forced one to, there'd be no way to attach drywall or sheathing or anything to this. Also, notice how the top plate, it overlaps. It's like log cabin. It interlinks. That's how they chain them together. The sole plate nails into the floor and nails into the joist below. The top plate sits on top of the wall to hold it together, and then the second top plate, the double, actually overlaps the joints of those, linking them together. The whole system becomes interlinked. Now, nailing patterns. When you get into real construction, you'll find out about nailing patterns. They become important. You'll find out about how to assemble a header. There's different ways depending on what's going on, and the difference becomes very obvious when you look at the different kinds of headers. Notice the one in this closet right here, and notice the one over this door right here. What's the difference? Well, this is non-bearing wall. This is simply a partition wall. It bears no weight really on top of it other than its own weight. So it doesn't have to hold up a lot. So this is just great. That's plenty for it. Not so much over here. This is bearing the whole wall, has to transfer the energy to coming down from the roof through these cripple studs right here out to these trimmer and king stud and then into the floor and from there into the foundation. So as we're looking at it, we need to know what's going on inside the building. Now, like I said, I'll go in and I'll be adding the windows and stuff. We'll come back to this a couple of times. This will be our good example for what's really going on inside that building as far as all the framing goes. So keep an eye on it. We'll come back and forth to this quite often, but we want to stick with the simple stuff. So name of the pieces. We got a sole plate here. We have a stud. We have a king stud and a trimmer stud. We have a header beam. We have a cripple right there. Cripple stud or jack stud, some people refer to them as. This is also a cripple stud. Now, one thing I did not point out, look at my exterior walls as opposed to my interior walls. These are 2x6s. These are 2x4s. Okay, dimensional lumber. So this is 1.5 by 5.5. This is 1.5 by 3.5. Okay, mostly I use those, and I tell our students and teach them around here, if we want to get the right insulation factor, we have to have the right wall thickness. There is one difference going on here. Check out the plumbing wall right there. Notice that wall in that bathroom? It's the same thickness as an exterior wall. It's because we have to be able to fit the plumbing, the soil stacks in those. Now, that one isn't actually required in this house because the plumbing will actually be in this wall. But I put it there so we'd see what it was. And if I had my druthers, I'd actually move this door over here and come in from this way and have this be an actual plumbing wall so that I could get all my water lines and stuff off an exterior wall in this house. Okay, the door would actually be right about here, okay, going into that bathroom. With this being a one-bedroom bath, there's no point in even really worrying about having, public space, private space, other than maybe you want to, if you've got a guest staying here, you want to have a way they don't have to traipse through your bedroom to get to the bathroom. But it does have a coat closet. It does have a clothing closet. It does have a bath. It does have a sleeping area here. And this is kind of the work area space here. This is a great room, so to speak, but it's only a 25-foot great room. But as you're looking at it, we'll get into those details as we get going. So thank you for your time.